One big thing I talk about with clients is mindful eating. So mindful eating is being present in the moment and really thinking about what you're eating before you put it in your mouth. So this is like really savoring the food and taking your time to eat and really assessing your hunger before you even start to put food in your mouth. So think on a scale of 1 to 10, am I not so hungry or am I absolutely starving? So seeing where you're at, maybe if you're a 1 and you're not so hungry, you're bored or you're stressed or it's just a habit for you to eat at that time. Mindless eating, on the other hand, can get people into trouble because most of the time when you're mindlessly eating, you're just snacking and not thinking about what you're putting in your mouth. And let's face it, most of the time people aren't mindlessly eating broccoli or celery or carrots. It's more so like chips or cookies or candy. So one thing that really affects how mindful you are with your food is your food environment. So that's like your kitchen or where you sit down to eat. So an example of how your food environment can affect how you eat mindfully, let's say you come home and you're absolutely starving. You walk into the kitchen and the first thing that you see is a bag of chips. Do you think that you're going to grab something from the bag of chips, or do you think you're going to take the time to open the refrigerator, to pull out a drawer, to grab an apple? Probably going to go for the chips. They're right there in front of you, and when you're absolutely starving and you're just coming right in, you're going to grab probably the first thing that you see. So setting up your food environment to be more accessible to healthy foods versus the unhealthy options is kind of the way to go. So there's a couple of things with mindful eating to kind of help you set up that food environment. So the first of these things is to try and avoid leaving that unhealthy food on the counter. So like your chips, your cookies, pretzels, whatever it may be that you find yourself like really snacking on. Try not to put those out on the counter. Try putting a bowl of fruit on the counter. Maybe it might encourage you to eat more. Another thing is to put healthy foods at eye level in your refrigerator. So when you come home from shopping, one thing you do right away is get all of your fresh produce that you can chop up. So like maybe you brought some celery home or cucumbers, chop some up, put them in a container, clear container so you could see them, and put them at eye level in the fridge. So that way you're more likely to grab them, when you are hungry and you open the door, you see like, hey, there's some celery and carrots. Maybe you're like, oh, I don't really want celery and carrots, but at least it's there for you. So it's another kind of reminder about that healthy food. If you do buy unhealthy food items, put them in the cabinet behind other foods or on a high shelf or rubber band the bag. Try and do some stuff that'll create a little bit of a barrier between you and that unhealthy food item. So again, you're not gonna just open the cabinet and be like, oh, there's those chips that I was thinking about. Put them behind some other stuff. So that way, again, it'll help to create that barrier. Another thing you could do is try not to eat and cook. I get a lot of people tell me they'll snack on chips or pretzels while they're cooking. And, if you put yourself a small little serving on the side, that's fine. But most of the time it's, eating out of the bag and just kind of mindlessly munching while you're cooking. So a couple things you could do instead, brush your teeth or, mouthwash or chew gum or even drink an unsweetened beverage, something that'll get your mind off of, snacking while your hands are moving around. One big thing I guess everyone always says is, use smaller plates and cups. And honestly, it really does work. So, get a smaller plate and one, it'll force you to put a little less on it. Try not to get the plates that are sloped on the edges because then you could tend to pile things up a little bit more. But yeah, just try to get a smaller plate and, you'll put less food on it. And kind of going along with that, leave leftovers on the stove. So one thing that does is you have to physically get up from the table to go to the stove to go get those leftovers for seconds. And if you're going for like seconds of steamed broccoli, by all means do it. But if you're going for seconds of, maybe a higher calorie or higher fat food, think about it on your way there. And again, use that hunger scale. Am I really hungry? Am I satisfied? Am I still starving? So think about it before you get there. Another thing that you can do at the table is to use what's called the 2-plate method. So get your plate, put your food on it that you would typically eat, and then get a second plate and serve yourself from that initial plate. It'll kind of help you to slow down a little bit and be more mindful about your food. So that's like another option that you can use. Another thing is turn off the TV. So that's one of the biggest distractions, and it can, you could be sitting there eating and, watching TV and not even paying attention to what you're putting in your mouth, or, savoring the food. And a lot of times your plate is done and you're just grabbing seconds. You might not really be that hungry. So really thinking about food and who's at the table and conversation versus, mindlessly watching television. A lot of times people mindlessly eat and snack at night. It's probably one of the biggest things that people talk about is, I just don't know what to do at night. I'm watching TV and I just don't know what to do with my hands. So a lot of people were like, well, I can't knit. So finding other things that you could do with your hands, playing with something versus just kind of shoveling food in. Another thing that you could do is, whether it is a snack or a meal, make it a meal and sit at the table. So try not to eat anywhere outside of the kitchen. And when you're getting this together, portion it out on a plate or a bowl, so don't eat out of the bag. Again, it's going to help you to focus on what's in that bowl. And then again, if you're finished, you have to physically get up and go get more. So another thing that you could do. Lastly, I talk about this in my other videos, but tracking what you eat is really important. It can help you to kind of see, at night I'm really mindlessly snacking, or I'm snacking a lot while I'm cooking. So it can kind of help you, trigger or find little behaviors that you could focus on and see like, okay, well, maybe I'm going to change this one up a little bit and add something healthier, instead. So that can help you to just kind of see where you're at now, and then again, see where you're going. So little kind of strategies. Hopefully there's one strategy in here that can kind of help you out in terms of making what you eat and making it more mindful. And mindless eating, or mindful eating, I would say, is not about restricting. You don't want to think, well, I can't have the seconds anymore. It's not about like cutting back your intake if you're still hungry. It's just, feeling more satisfied and not feeling stuffed, or overstuffed. So really thinking about stuff before you're putting it in your mouth. So thanks for watching. Click like if you found this video to be useful. Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this on different nutrition topics. And if you've tried a strategy before with mindful eating, leave a comment below and let me know how it went.